Hello and welcome to the What Leigh Makes podcast. My name is Leigh and I will be your host today. This is my corner of the internet and my attempt at dabbling with the online knitting podcasting community to see. I don't have many friends in real life that are knitters that enjoy yarn. So I'm hoping that this is another way to explore building friendships with you guys, with all of you watching me, if I publish it. Where I can talk about yarn and I can listen about yarn and everything's great. So what am I wearing? I will start off with what I am wearing today. I am wearing, my only piece of knitwear that I'm wearing is a Litmus Cowl by Jude. It's stranded dyeworks. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I knit this in, I think I knit it in 2020. It is knit using Snuggly Stars yarn on Etsy in the dual tone mini set. I did ask Gemma to custom dye a mustard colourway that replaced one of the other colours in the set. I can't remember what colour it was. And she also very kindly sent me a mini skein in this really pretty variegated, like oranges, reds, yellows on the same base. That wasn't part of the mini skein set, but it was included as an extra. So I used it with this just because it was the same base. Very pretty. The grey is the undyed yarn. It is a merino yak nylon base. It is really pretty. I really like it. It's probably one of my favourite patterns to knit. I've only knit one so far, but I have another one on needles which I will show you later, and I definitely want to knit about 1,000 more. So really like it. I am also wearing a homemade dress. It is a Butterick pattern. I will include pattern details down below. It is a sort of tunic, sort of A-line style. It's quite a high neck tunic, A-line, knee length dress. It's very loose, it's very baggy. You can eat whatever you like and not worry too much. I love this pattern. It is my go-to, and I've recently had a clear out of most of my me-made wardrobe, which is most of my wardrobe, and have decided to pretty much, so most of my dresses will now be this pattern. The fabric is, I think it might be a cotton and steel. I'm not sure. If I can find it, I'll link it. It's 100% cotton. Really pretty floral print. I love floral prints. That'll be a common theme in my sewing, I think. Yeah. So that is my outfit today. I've discussed the weather, I've discussed my outfit. I am currently drinking a cup of tea. It is just a normal Tetley's tea, milk and sugar, nothing exciting. But I love a nice hot tea. To steady my nerves. So I would like to, as it's the 1st of January 2022, I feel like it would be really useful to discuss my finished objects for last year, which are slightly disappointing. Let's start off on a positive note. Slightly disappointing. I feel like I knit so much in 2021 that evidently I didn't, because I don't have that many finished objects to show. So I will show you what I finished in 2021. Well, that might be a really nice way to kickstart the podcast in the year, should it get published. And then I will have a look at, I've knit some more that didn't get finished in 2021. So I will include those as sort of my FAs and then my whips and sort of follow sort of traditional podcast outlines. Is that right? Is that the word? And then I might have a think about my plans for 2022, but we'll see. So 2021, I started to participate in the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, which was hosted by Jules of So Sweet Violet and Kelly of Leigh Family Yarns. And I thought this was perfect. So I really wanted, at the end of 2020, well, I really wanted to get more involved in the knitting community. And I really wanted to knit more and take my knitting more seriously. So when Jules made a video about Rainbow Sock Chronicles, I thought that was perfect. And I did start with really good intentions that didn't last. So I really wanted to knit a pair of socks a week. That was my goal. I would do it in line with the rainbow colours for the month that I wanted to knit loads of socks, basically. And I wanted to be heavily involved in Ravelry and sort of kickstart, trying to get more involved in knitting community, trying to build relationships, trying to get more into knitting. However, that didn't seem to happen. I'm not going to say I didn't have time, but I didn't have headspace, didn't commit the time to it, unfortunately. So that's part of the reason why I want to do this podcast. I still want to do Ravelry, still want to do knit-alongs. But I'm also hoping this podcast, if it gets published, might help to keep me accountable, because if I know that I have to sit down and admit to whoever might view this podcast that I actually haven't done any knitting, then that's quite embarrassing. So I might be more inclined to knit if I know I've got to show what I've done. So I did knit some pairs of socks, but not as many as I hoped. So I did knit a few other things, but again, I feel like I did knit loads in 2021, that everything got put into one box, and actually there isn't much to show, which is really disappointing. It's really disheartening. But I'm also, I've got my finished objects here and then my whips that I'd started there. And I know that there's a lot in progress. And then I'm also aware that I did cast on a couple of, not many, but a couple of extra things that did get ripped back. Got frogged. So I know that there is more than just finished objects. But still, I mean, it isn't much. So I'm hopeful that next year, 2022, I'm hopeful will be my year to have lots of hand knits. And you're going to come along for the ride, hopefully. So I'm just going to start. Nothing is currently in order. I'll start with these because they're just on top of the pile. So these are, I'll give you a sneak glimpse. There are pairs to these. Yeah, disclaimer, this is all the socks I knit. There are pairs, but I've only got one on the blockers because we've only got 4 blockers. So I'm just going to work around it. But these were a pair of socks that I knit. They are in Opal Unipart Neon Orange. They are very neon. I remember I really struggled with orange and yellow yarns. I don't know how much wear neon socks are going to get. But they were fun to knit. So yeah, there isn't much to say. Just as a disclaimer, most of the patterns, most of the socks are knit using the King Cole Zigzag free pattern. I've adjusted it to sort of suit my needs. So 2x2 cuff rib, however long to the leg. So this slip stitch heel flopping gusset, however long to the foot, and then around the toe. The blockers I'm using are Knit Pro blockers, in Fancy. They get the job done. So most of these actually, I really wanted to try 9-inch circulars, and I did, and I love knitting on them. So I knit a couple of pairs of socks before the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, but not loads. And I really wanted to use that as a way to knit lots of socks and to experiment with my sock knitting, and that unfortunately didn't really happen. But I did try 9-inch circlets, and I love knitting on them. But I don't really enjoy the tension. I find my tension's a lot looser. So I've got loads. Most of the whips that I've got, the sock whips I've got, are done on 9-inch circlets, and that isn't my first choice now. I want to finish them and then continue experimenting next year, right? This year, I think, with my socks. So that's that pair. I'll discuss. Things can be very rambled. I'm very sorry. This is another pair of socks that I knit. The same. Sorry, they are in. I think they're in Opal. It's like the bedtime or storytime collection. I remember the colourway has llama in it. I will try and include show notes down below if you want any information. I really like these, to be honest. And actually these are probably one of my favourite pairs because I've picked up the heel stitches that I've picked up look quite neat. That for me is always an issue. I seem to get a lot of like holes around here on the pickup stitches, but I was really pleased with my, I don't know if you'll see, but I was actually really quite impressed with my, felt like a proper knitter. I then also knit this pair, which was out of West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in the Florence collection. Which was, I think, Peony and Sweet Pea. I can't remember which one is which. But I've done the cuff and the toe and the solid, and then the rest of the sock in spackly variegated speckled one, which I adore. I love this yarn so much. I've got the future plans. I would like to knit tops in each of these colourways, and I've got enough in the colourways to do that. I then decided to, because I originally started wanting to knit 4 pairs of socks a month, so I wanted to do this, and I thought it'd be fun to change it and then do mostly the solid and then a little bit of the speckled and try and use those up. But I only did this the 1 month, which I thought was going to be January because I thought it looked quite pink, and then when I kept looking at it again I thought no, it looks more lilac. Sorry, I'm watching out the window. I only did this the once. I didn't really enjoy how it looked, so it didn't happen again. So that is those 4. Let me take those off. Yes, so I'll do this one next. So this was also West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply Florist collection in the English Rose and Lystampus, something like that. So the peachy colour is really pretty. I love that so much. I also did West Yorkshire Spinners is probably one of my favourites. Favourite sock yarns, to be honest. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply Country Birds collection with the Bullfinch colourway, and then the contrasting cuff, heel and toe is in Cayenne Pepper. Really like these, really pretty, really happy. This pair. And then I also did my last pair of socks is Trekking, I think it's Trekking XXL, and it was I think the colour might be something like 601 or something. I'll include the details down below. The cuff is in West Yorkshire Spinner's signature 4-ply in the Candy Floss colourway. And I think I was planning on doing a contrast toe. I can't work out whether I did, because it's only a tiny bit, or whether that was just how the main yarn knit at the toe. I can't remember. But I really, really like this. I love the colourway. I remember the toe, I think I'd knit too long in the foot. So the toe ended up being a bit, literally just had to really quickly decrease round. Because normally they'd have sort of quite neat decreases, whereas this literally doesn't. But that's fine. It goes in the bottom of your shoe. It goes to the end of your shoe, so no one's used. It doesn't matter. That unfortunately is all the socks that I finished. It's really embarrassing. I did, however, knit a couple of extra bits, although nowhere near what I was hoping for a stack of socks like up here somewhere, but never mind. So I did this. I cast this on for Christmas in July and finished it on Christmas night. Took 6 months. It is West Yorkshire Spinner's signature 4-ply. Sorry, the pattern is 6 Wives Shawl by Potter and Bloom. It's my second attempt at a shawl, but the first one was only, it was an acrylic one. They didn't, well, it just wasn't the best. Anyway, it is a 6 Wives Shawl by Potter and Bloom using the sparkle base. I don't know how well you'll see. But that is the fairy lights on the sparkle base, and then the contrast garter stitch garter stitch section is in the complementary solids. So I've got chocolate lime, cayenne pepper, milk bottle, sarsaparilla, the pink that's in the sweet shop range. Like a hot pink, and then bubblegum. I love this. I didn't knit any Christmas socks this year, which is a shame, because the last 2 years that I've been knitting socks, so 2019, no, 2021 and 2020, I knit a couple of pairs of Christmas socks. So this year, 2019 and 2020, I knit a couple of pairs of Christmas socks each year. 2021 I didn't, but I did knit Christmas shawl, so hopefully it sort of balances itself out. Maybe in 2022 I'll knit loads of Christmas socks, who knows. But just pop this on. The pattern's really easy. I don't know, I can't work out if I'd rather a big shawl. But I did have plans to make a couple more of these, because I love the fact that you can use really nice like patterned yarn in the stocking stitch section. Because I feel like with shawls, a lot of shawls seem to be sort of garter stitch, and then you lose, if it's patterned yarn, you can sometimes lose that pattern in. If that makes sense. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just it's quite pretty. I do think I like it. I want to knit a lot more out of this yarn though. I want to do I think I want to do a t-shirt for Christmas using this. But I'll discuss that. I might do that. I'm hoping to do that in 2022. I also want to do socks out of it, of course, and I want to do a hat and mittens or something out of it too, because I love the Fairy Lights colourway, and I also love the Silent Night Christmas colourway. That one's one of my ultimate favourite. Well, literally ever. So yeah, that was my 6-5 shawl. did have a bit of an issue with blocking. I feel like that should have been sort of blocked much further down, but I didn't really have. It's only a 200 grams, only like a 2 skein shawl, only like 200 grams. But I really struggled with space to be able to leave it to block for a couple of days. Really struggled. So I would love to do really big shawls. And in 2021, I wanted to do the West Knit Along, Mystery Knit Along. Didn't, because I really struggled to find yarn. I didn't want to commit to an undyed set without knowing what the finished item was like. So I was going to, in 2022, was going to be a knitting goal that I would do the West Knit Along. That I just don't know whether I'm going to have the floor space or the space to be able to block a huge shawl right now. I then also knit a holly hat. I remember who the pattern's by, might be Unit or something like that. I can't remember. I'll pop it down below. The yarn is by Mama Bear Yarns on Etsy. It's in Toasted Marshmallow colourway, and it is beautiful. It is like a creamish sock yarn with brown speckles, and then the mohair is a pink, very pale pink. So it's beautiful. I knit the holly hat. I wanted to have a go at knitting with mohair and alpaca. Which is a fourth. Actually, I might do plans. I might have a look at not necessarily items, but I might think I want to knit a project with certain fibres. Actually, idea. Just suddenly thought of it. See, it's what I mean. I need to like talk about knitting, talk about yarn, and then more things come to mind. So I wanted to knit out mohair, and I found this, and it does. I'm sure the sample was knit with mohair, and it wasn't. I didn't block. Sorry, let me try. I didn't block the item, so to speak, but it was finished. I measured my head, and I should have knit the large size to my head circumference because apparently I have a really big head. And I did, and then I put it into. I washed it. When I lay it flat to dry, but once it was finished, it was very big. So I have put some shearing, you won't be able to see, I put some shearing elastic through it to try and tighten it up a little bit. I'm really disappointed, to be honest. I don't know if it'd be better if it was knit in smaller size. I don't know if it might be worth trying in a DK weight yarn and just foregoing the mohair or alpaca. So I bought the mohair, and then I have bought an alpaca and sock yarn to use together to knit another one in alpaca. But after my experience, after I tried this on, I wasn't going to use the alpaca. So the yarn that is left, I'll pop it on. It's not really easier. So it's really pretty on, and it is warm. It's my first experiment with mohair, and I enjoyed knitting it. Not itchy, love the colourway, and it's not so bad now. It's been tightened with elastic, shearing elastic, but it isn't. I don't know if I want to commit to make another one. I'm not sure. So I don't know if it'd be better if it was in like just a DK weight yarn. I'm not sure. I do really want to knit the Messelborough hat. That's on my list to do. I've got the yarn, I've got the pattern. I just want to get my whips out of the way before I cast on anything new. Sorry. So after my disappointment with the holly hat, oh, the yarn that is left. Okay, let me tell you about this project. So this one is the Symphony Howl, by Cropped Red Tea on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. And the yarn is by Attic Spin Dye in Winter Wonderland. It might get blown out to the lighting, but it's really, really, really pretty. It is the sock base and then the alpaca lace weight base. And I'd originally bought this yarn to do this pattern. Then I changed my mind, so I was going to do a cowl, which is great. And I've done the cowl, and then while I was knitting the cowl, I sort of made plans that I was going to use the leftover yarns from this to do another one of these. But it's been washed and it's been not blocked, but again lay flat to dry. It just feels a bit, I don't know if I'd like it a bit drapier, so I don't know if to try a different pattern or whether to go back to plan A, go back to the drawing board. But this is it on. Colours are beautiful. I just don't know if I love it or not. So I think I need to wear it a couple of times and how I feel wearing it. But you know what, they say alpaca is meant to be softer than mohair, but I actually don't know whether I prefer this against the mohair against my skin. I'm not sure. So that's that. So I have planned to do this yarn in this pattern, but I'm not sure. No idea. So that is all of my finished objects for 2021, which is not very much at all, unfortunately. I will, however, discuss my projects I started in 2021. Let me just pop all of these away from me. So many items. So I did start. I am finding that there is. I'm finding that there's a MO with me. I seem to cast on a pair of socks, get as far as the heel, and I don't have the time or the headspace to do the heel, so I cast on a new pair of socks. And then, to be honest, I think part of it was because I was doing the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, I had to constantly, like that month ended, so I had to start a new pair of socks in a different colour. And it very quickly got really overwhelming and really stressful. So I sort of stopped bothering, to be honest. I think that was part of my downfall when I stopped knitting. So I think, okay, I'll just show you the ones that I've got. So these are in no particular order. This one, I had a couple of these like all grouped in sort of one bag or two bags. But then they were all tangled and stressing me out. So I just wanted everything in its own bag. So this is an organza bag from Wool Warehouse. I just grabbed it to shove them in. And this is going to be really common. Most of them are I think most of them are both socks done as far as the heel. So this is Opal, I think it's Opal True Love. I can't remember what colourway it is, but it's the orange version. It's really pretty. I love how this yarn knits. I think both of them about as far as the heel. Well, they look really short like that, but I don't know. I need to measure them, but I think they're as far as the heel. That's why they got put down. So that pair. these are going to be my projects to finish first. I think I want to get all my needles free, most of my needles free, and then start again in 2022. This is a project bag by Amelia X Joy on Etsy. It's the peace for everyone. I think it's sort of peace signs. It's part of. Showed a couple of bags that we use in sort of fabric based on equality. And I love anything on equality, so to have them. Amelia X Joy and the Tudor Rose Craft Studio are my go-to for bags. These are in Opal True, I think it's Opal True Love, but this is in the dark green colourway. Really pretty again. Again, I think they are as far as the heel. Just need heels going in. I really want to do the thinking ahead. I want to have a go at doing the vanilla is the new black socks. I think I've got the pattern. I just need to actually cast it on. I was going to cast it on for December as part of the indie knit along, but I just couldn't bring myself. I didn't want to buy a new pair of needles. I didn't want to cast on a new pair of socks or finish in the pair that I've got, and just didn't have the headspace to finish in these. So for that one, the heel is, I think it looks like it's knitting, so like I get as far as coming to knit the heel flap and go set and give up. Then I have this bag, which is also by Amelia X Joy. This one would be perfect for January socks, which obviously is January now. Or January cast on of any description, to be honest. It's all about like life goals, like cook more yoga, travel, learn to embroider, love, peace, laugh more, start knitting, find the sun, see more friends, sew, more books, drink more water, less scream, paint. It's all about like life goals, and I love this bag. Very pretty. This is West Yorkshire Spinners in the cocktail range, in the mojito colourway. I adore this. Very pretty. The cuff is in chocolate lime, I believe, by West Yorkshire Spinners. And the toe will also be in chocolate lime, I believe. Again, these heels going in, a very common thing. Then I have a couple of bags by the Tudor Rose Craft Studio. Which is this one? See, some of these are Halloween. This yarn is King Cole Zigzag, and it is in, it's Wicked, yeah, the Wicked 1863 colourway, which is like this. I really dislike how, you may have noticed actually, one of these are bald. I don't like how commercial stock yarn, or commercial yarns come in their own balls anyway, so I used to hand wind them into my own ball, and I have a ball winder, so I may cake them instead. But when I was trying to do socks constantly, I did choose to try, and I didn't have weighing scales. I do now. I've sort of progressed in my knitting. I used to sort of measure roughly half, just so I could have like 2 socks on the go at once. Wouldn't do that again. You learn as you go. I think I now prefer BPMs, and I prefer having one ball and knit one sock at a time, because I don't want to get to this stage ever again. These ones are knit on Chowgate. Oh, the DPN Cozy is from Gussets and Grey Days Etsy shop. Beautiful podcast. Highly recommend her podcast. and her products are lovely too. So I got this one. I really wanted the project bag, but it's sold out in this print, which is a real shame because I love it. But never mind. So yeah, this is this sock. I think the ones where I've got 2 socks are going to be the ones that I try and finish first, because they're sort of further along than these, because everything's waiting to heal. I'm hoping that I will just get all of these whips down. Then I will start considering my 2022 goals. Another bag by Tudor Rose Craft Studio. I love this fabric so much. I remember she was using this fabric as the lining for another Halloween bag, and I'd seen the other bag, and then I noticed the lining, and I messaged her and said, "Is there any chance you can make me a bag out of that lining fabric with just the plain lining fabric inside?" So I loved the lining print, so she said that was fine. And then I also bought enough of this fabric myself to make a dress for Halloween. This needle cozy is another one from Gussets and Go Days. I'd already ordered this bag with Tracy Tudor Rose when I noticed Gussets and Go Days had it, or she released her Halloween bag, something like that. But I bought the DPN cozy from Gussets and Go Days. Again, isn't it on Chalgu DPMs? I have got a little bit of work done on the heel for this one. That's from that blue, but it's very small beginnings. This yarn is the cuff and the toe will be in West Yorkshire Spinner's signature 4-ply in a lilac. Let me just check. Don't know what the name is, but the colourway is, I think it's 731. And then the beautiful patterned yarn is Truly Wool Rich by Signet Sock Yarn 4-ply in the colour 4138. Really like this. Sorry, I got an itchy nose from the mohair and the alpaca. I have another bag, another Halloween bag by Tudor Rose Craft Studio. Take this print, it's really pretty again. I love Tudor Rose Craft Studio. Oh, this is the pair that I've been desperately trying to finish last night. The yarn is neon. the yarn is Opal Unipart in neon green. So I managed to finish a sock, so I've got a hoe. Unfortunately, I knit too far on the foot, remember, because I used the Kid Cole zigzag pattern. I remember tweaking it and knowing, when I knit socks regularly, I sort of knew how long to make everything. Whereas because now I'm like putting socks down and picking them up, I sort of forget where I am and I forget what I need. So I want to finish off what I've got. A lot of these are on 9-inch circulars. That is not my go-to now. I much prefer DPMs, but you live and learn. So I was following the pattern, but the length of the foot was too long. But when I tried it on my actual foot, I had to very, very quickly decrease the toe to try and make it fit reasonably well. So it does, but this is not toe pattern that is normally used. I finished this morning, like 4 AM. I woke up. But I realised that I didn't have enough length left to do decreases as was, so I literally just started decreasing like mad as I went round. So it's not perfect, but you know what, the neon green socks, I don't know how much wear they're going to get in general. Anyway, I know it sounds terrible, But I just don't know whether or not I'm in love with neon socks. I don't know how wearable it is. I'm sorry, it's like blowing the camera out like mad. So I would rather just get them done. And I have this one. The heel flap has been done. I think the heel flap's done. It just needs the stitches picking up and the gusset decreases them in the toe, the foot and toe, I think. But I'm not sure. But I could tell this one was on. I was on the foot the other day, and I picked this up, and I went through them all the other day. I realised I was on the foot of this. I thought I could at least get this one done. But cannot wait to get all of these sock whips done. And then my final sock whip to show you that is being carried over is this. It is in a Sarah J. Makes bag I purchased for Strictly Sock Along. I had the badges from Ali and Little Drops of Wonderful. I couldn't decide between the white or the black, so I had both. I'd heard of the Strictly Sock Along before last year, but last year was the first year that I attempted to participate. Didn't go very well, to be honest. I'd started these socks, the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, for I think August was purple. So for August or September. And then they went into the Giddy Yarns podcast Halloween Cowl, because I thought purple reminds me of like witches. And then they ended up going into Strictly Sock Along, and they still didn't. I think this one is as far as the heel. DPM. I've just started. I don't think you'll be able to tell, but I've just done a row of, looks like 2 rows for heel. It's really pretty yarn. I love the yarn. The DPN KZ is by Joe Pickle Lily. Let's see again. Everything will be linked. We could just shiny gold, glittery gold. It's really pretty. I'd ordered one of the gold faces. I'd ordered 2 because I did like to have 2 socks. Easy to have 2 socks on the go. And then she messaged me and said that she noticed I'd ordered 2, and she's just had this fabric. Did I want one in the original fabric and then one in this? And I said, yeah, why not? So I thought that was wonderful customer service too. These socks are not the King Cole Zigzag. These ones are, I think they're called Vanilla Socks by Spinning Yarn Designs. Suzanne Surgeon, how do you say it? I think it's probably a 3 pattern on Ravelry. I decided I needed to try and experiment with my sock knitting, which I still do. So that's all my sock whips progress. The bag's beautiful. It's based on Charleston. And then I'll show you my Litmus Cowl. This is another bag by Amelia X Joy and my Etsy. It is another quality bag. This yarn is by the Tudor Rose Craft Studio. It's all jumbled. It's knit on Chalgu interchangeable needles. Litmus Cowl by Jude, a stranded dye works. It's free pass on Ravelry as well. And then the grey, I think you can see, yeah you can. The grey is called Pewter, and the multicoloured one is named Muted Rainbow, both by Tudor Rose Craft Studio. Beautiful, I love this so much. Tudor Rose Craft Studio is one of my favourite dyers too, to be honest. And then my final whip coming into 2022 with me Oh no, my second to last whip is in another bag by the Tudor Rose Studio. It is the Rose Garden Cowl by Crystal Tea Knits. This one is the 3 contrast colour version. And I've done the rib, done the first texture, done the first fade, and that's as far as I got. I was doing it with the indie Get Along, that ran at the very end of 2021, but it didn't finish, of course. Some more tea. The Crystal Tea Knits Rose Garden Cowl also comes as an ebook, and so the cowl comes in 3 sizes. There's the one contrast colour, the 3 contrast colour, and 24-day Advent version. So I did the 3 skein, the 3 contrast colour one, because I thought that would probably be the best sized. But now I've seen the yarn that I've got, I actually want to do the 1 contrast colour as well, because I think 2 of the yarns will go really well together. And then I think I might save all the scraps, because this yarn base is, I think it's 85/15 merino nylon. So I think I would rather, I'm going to save all the leftovers, not scraps, the leftovers, and then I might try and knit the 24-day one out of the leftovers. So they're buying 24 mini skeins, I'll just use leftovers throughout. I know what I mean, but I'm not sure. The Crystal Tea Knits has the Rose Garden Cowl out now, and then she also has an ebook with patterns to be released this year, which includes socks, mittens, a hat, and a shawl, I think, and then the cowl. And I think I'm going to knit all of them. So the yarn that I've chosen, I should discuss that, is by Tiny Teal Handcrafted. Tag on Etsy. She's their own website too. Okay. Oh, I can show you. Let me show you the pattern itself, but I can show you the. Everything will be linked. But that is, in fact, that is the version I'm doing as well. Sorry, that's the version I'm doing. It's really pretty. So I originally saw this yarn. It's called, I think it's called Antique Rose. It is so beautiful. It's like various shades of pink and mauve and brown. I adore this yarn. And I messaged the seller and explained that I really like this yarn, but I was looking for some contrast colours to go with it. And I asked, I showed her the patterns, this is what I want to make, you know, what do you recommend? Because you obviously, you dye yarn, you know, more than I do. And she suggested a cream with pink speckle, which is this one, which I really, really like, and a dusky rose. And now I've seen them, now that they're both come, I actually think I want to knit the smaller version and have that as my main colour. Like a white with pink speckle, or like a dusky rose speckle. And then dusky rose as the lace rose section. So I'm going to, next time I need to place an order with her, because I'd rather order a couple in one go, because then she can use the same dyes. I don't know how it all works. I have mentioned it and she said she would, so that's brilliant. And I did, when I messaged her about it, I asked her if she would mind making a note of whatever it is she needs to make a note of. I said that I probably would place an order again and with like similar colourways, so everything sort of coordinates. She was quite happy to oblige. So I got those 2 colourways. I then also got a brown, which is really nice. I'd asked for 3 skeins, and when she messaged me, she said about the cream pink speckles, a brown, and then she said like a green, a dusky rose or a rose / green. But because she put / green, I thought she meant like a variegated or speckled or whatever. So that was fine. But then when they came, it was an actual little mini, which is lovely. So I also got that one. I think I prefer these 3 colourways with my main colour as opposed to the green. So I'm going to keep hold of the green because it will probably go in the mini advent version. But they're the colourways that I've got. Really lovely. So I am enjoying the pattern, but it does require, it's like the heel flap and gusset. It does require a little bit more brain power than I potentially always want to give knitting. But now I'm sort of getting more into knitting and trying lace. I've actually really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping, I can continue. And then my final whip, which is not going to be done this year. Sorry. At all. No chance. Is a blanket. So it's housed in a Woolwarehouse organza bag. It is based on Jude of Stranded Dyeworks, made a mould garter stitch blanket. It's a baby blanket. He did a rainbow version. So there isn't a pattern. I just kind of made a note of what they'd done. So I did it. So I've got cast on 200 stitches, garter stitch blanket, slip the first stitch of every row. I am marling it with West Yorkshire Spinner's Signature 4-ply in milk bottle because I actually wanted to do I cast on the northeasterly blanket. I wanted to do the Cozy Memories blanket, and I remember one of the yarns that I had right at the start, I did a pair of socks. I didn't have much left over, and I wasn't sure because I didn't have scales, so I didn't know if I was having enough to do a square for the Cozy Memories blanket. So I remember I then changed it and wanted to do northeasterly, and I cast the northeasterly yarn. I was not enjoying having to pick up the stitches as you went, tea break. I remember I wasn't enjoying casting, like picking up the stitches. And then I wasn't living, because I sort of grabbed by the yarn, so I fancied next, and when because I wanted the blanket to be knit in order of the yarns, I knit. So the blanket was knit in the order that I knit the yarn, the yarns, the items, products, the projects. And I didn't like how the yarns all looked together, but they looked a bit clashy. And then I remembered this blanket, and you know what, I've used like a creamy colour, but I mean a grey would also work really well. And it just kind of helps to tone it down a little bit. So I knit the Litmus Cowl that I was wearing earlier, is the only yarn item not included in this, but I knit all of those prior to 2021, and all of that prior to 2021, and then I only knit that in 2021. I've got a stitch marker there to note where I am. Like, that's not much. Like, I have to knit a project, and then I don't use all the leftovers. I do a couple of garter ridges, so back and forth, with each colourway. One I used up until it ran out because there wasn't much. But the others, I just try and make sure there's a couple of garter garter ridges for each one. There's loads of ends. I think I want to finish it, and then I think I'll wash it, because if it's going to stretch, that'll be when it stretches. And then I plan to just cut the ends and hope for the best, to be honest. I know that's probably not the best, but like I use quite small scraps. Like when I cast on, I do a thumb cast on method, so I end up with quite a long tail. So I like sew that in a little bit and I cut it, and then I'll just use what's left to start the blanket. Now some of the yarns have been hand dyed yarns. The little bits of yarn that wrap around the skein, like when I cut those, I'll like knot them. I can't do the magic knot method thing, I just knot it and hope for the best. So yeah, it's not the neatest, but it's alright. I don't have to look at it very often, so I don't finish many things. So yeah, that is my blankets in progress. I am enjoying it. I definitely want to knit quite a few more blankets, but I don't know if I want to buy the yarn deliberately for the blanket, but then to use leftovers and to have to knit later. So, sure. Yeah. So, this away. Right. So in terms of my plans for 2022, sorry, I'm like top of camera. So in terms of my plans for 2022, I don't know if I want to set any, to be honest. I want to finish these whips. That's my priority. I would really like to knit more socks, but I don't know if I want to set a number goal. I do want to knit more socks, or knit socks, and keep experimenting with my socks. I have a lot of sock yarn stash, so I really want to try and get that down. I would like to have a go at knitting some garments too. I cast on, so this is the stuff that's left. I did cast on a few other projects. I did cast on a flax light last year. I did a load of raglan increases and then realised that I was doing the increases wrong. I wasn't increasing enough, so I had to rip it back, and I didn't have the heart to restart it. But I would like to try that again. I've got a couple of like quantities of yarn to do sweaters or t-shirts. It's just having an inclination to do them. I would like to do Boxy by Hohiro Catelli as well, I think. That'd be quite nice. But again, I want to try and use up some of the stash I've got before I start buying more. So yeah, socks and garments I think are going to be my priority. I will of course keep knitting Litmus Cowls too, because I do enjoy the pattern. It's really easy. I think I'd like to do the Rose Garden collection by Crystal T Knits. I don't know if or not I'll do the shawl though, because I don't know whether I'd have the space to block it. I don't know how big it will be. That's my concern. I'd love to do like the West Knits shawl, like the Mystery Knit Along, and the shawls, but blocking would be an issue, I think, at home. So until I know that I could block them, because to me the project isn't finished until it's washed and blocked. Quite particular about that. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna leave it here. I think I've rambled on for quite a while now. Hopefully I'll be back. I actually quite enjoyed filming this. It's